You now tuned in to the Gumptown Podcast. I'm your boy Doug B. We ain't got nothing to talk about, but we got something to talk about. Let's go. Good people. Welcome back to the Gumptown Podcast, episode 91. I'm your boy Doug B. If you tuned in to this podcast, thank you for your time and your attention. I really appreciate you giving this podcast a shot. Today's guest, she's an author, speaker, advocate, real estate professional. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm sure we'll all be inspired by her story. Let's chop it up with Tonya Terry. Tonya, how's it going?
It's going fantastic. It's so nice to be talking to you. You having a good day?
Likewise. Yes, ma'am. I'm having a great day. How about yourself?
So far, so good. It's been super busy, but I'm anxious to talk to you. Congratulations on your podcast and using your voice. So many people, they want to do something like this and they're scared to do it or say they're too busy or whatever. But I'm proud of you for making time and making this available to people.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. First things first, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to chop it up with me a few minutes. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Like I said, anybody that's young, ambitious, and wanting to use their voice for good and just to be informative and inspirational, I'm here for it.
Yes, ma'am. So you've had a very illustrious professional career. You've done a lot of great things, from being an author, a speaker, an anchor on WSFA, Channel 12 News. But before we talk about your great career, let's get to know the woman behind it all. Who is Tonya Terry?
Wow, that's a broad question, but my main thing is that I'm just a beautiful Black woman trying to make it in this world, in this crazy world at that. I'm blessed to have 3 sons. They're all grown. I have 5 grandchildren. My father is still living. I have a sister and a brother. Educated. I love to travel. I am not really a person who joins things. So I'm not any part of the organization. I'm not Greek or anything like that. My health is a priority. My spiritual relationship with God is a priority. And I'm single and ready to mingle.
Yes, ma'am. Much respect. Appreciate you for breaking that down. I saw you grew up in Troy, Alabama, graduated from Charles Henderson, and went on to attend Troy University. What was that college life experience like for you?
It was good, but it's just like high school or middle school or anything else. I wouldn't want to do it again. It was fun while it lasted. I was out there in them Troy streets, and I had a good time. But there is a time and a season for everything, and I hope that the young people who are have gone through that or are going through that right now or want to go through that do have a wonderful experience the way I did. But I tell you what, it was tough. The student aspect of it and the activities aspect of it, extracurricular activities of it. It was, I did enjoy it. Troy has grown. It is so different now than it was when I was there so many years ago. That was over 30 years ago that I was at Troy. So, what I consider fun now is totally different than what I considered fun then. So knowing what I know now, wouldn't want to do it again, honey. I'd be something else if I knew what I do now.
Yes, ma'am. Wouldn't we all? That's the joys of life, getting a chance to live and learn.
Yes, grow. Yes, absolutely.
So what did you major in while you were down there at Troy?
Broadcast journalism and English. I at first wanted to be an attorney. So I was in criminal justice in English. But then I met a young lady from Opp, Alabama, who I just thought she hung the moon. She was a Delta. She was real popular and fun and cute. And she was a couple of years older than me. So I just wanted to kind of be like her. And she asked me to help her with a project, her broadcast journalism project. And all she needed me to do was sit up at the news desk and read the teleprompter. So that was my first experience on air, on TV. And I just fell in love. I changed my major the next day. And so I was in broadcast journalism and with a minor in English.
Wow. So that makes perfect sense. The career path that you ended up taking, and did a very fine job at for many years working for WSFA. So since we're already here
Yeah.
talking about WSFA, let's talk about your time there and just in
Okay.
terms of what was the most rewarding part of working for WSFA and what were some of those challenges that you had to overcome?
Yeah, I started my broadcast career on radio, which I loved. I would do that all over again. Then my first TV job was in Dothan, and then I went to Huntsville for 5 years, and then ended up at WSFA. It was a dream job because growing up in Troy, that was our station of choice. It was the one that was the clearest and most professional, and it was the first one that I remember seeing African Americans as reporters on local television. People like Norman Lumpkin and um, um, Eileen Jones and Kim Davis and Tracy Larkin, so many others. But I just watched it all the time. Thought they did such a great job. So when the call came, when I was in Huntsville still, to do that, I said, I gotta go. Plus, I was married at the time, and my husband at the time had a job offer here. So it just seemed like the timing was just right. Everything was perfect. And so we came down here to Montgomery and hit the ground running. My thing was they kind of promoted me as like the hometown girl, like she came home and she's doing good, and she's representing the part of the community that sometimes is underrepresented. So I took that to heart, and I was out in the community. I mean, everything from church to the clubs. I was everywhere, schools, everywhere. So I think that kind of set me apart from a lot of the other people that worked at WSFA, is that I was me, and that was genuinely me. I was authentic myself. I had good hair days, bad hair days. I would wear braids sometimes, wigs sometimes, whatever any other Black woman would. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's some people who you'll see them, and then 10 years from now they've never changed their hairstyle. They wear the same outfit all the time. That was never me. So I was just myself. I'm more eclectic and forward thinking, I think, than a lot of people that I had seen on WSFA. So the joy of it was seeing people out in the public who said, I mean, I really look forward to seeing you. I love you. I like what you had on today, or you're my favorite, or knowing that some people, can you imagine, I was the first person they saw when they woke up, and some of them hadn't even spoken to their spouses yet. They had a cup of coffee, they were still in their pajamas, and they were watching me and listening to me. That is crazy. That's insane. And I never took that for granted. That was something to have that kind of responsibility. And I did. Oh, I loved it, loved it. But the challenges came when we had to talk about things like, say, what just happened in Dadeville, or George Floyd, or COVID. How many people died? How many people were in the hospital? How many emergency rooms were left? It was awful during COVID, which is why I decided, I think, at that time, that it was a good time for me to just slip on out and do other things that brought joy to my life, because that just was not bringing joy to my life anymore. So that was the hardest part. Was probably COVID and those stories that we had to cover during that time.
Yes, ma'am. No, that's some great stuff, and I definitely appreciate you breaking that answer down from start to finish. And I definitely understand, like, just in terms of those challenges. Yes, I can only imagine, like, being in your shoes, being in a spot that you were in for the news station. But let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
Representation does matter, and you represented as well. I just want to let you know that. I want to give you your flowers, because
Thank you.
yes, ma'am. I'm not a big fan of the news, but just knowing that you were going to be on, like, it made people who didn't watch the news want to watch the news. Like, okay, who's she gonna have on? What is she gonna say that's catchy today? So it does. And to be honest with you, like you just said, you were authentically you. And I could tell, like, it was never, you weren't up there coming off a script, you were being you. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think that works for everybody. I don't care what profession you're in. Um, it's just a lot on you to try to be something you're not.
Mm.
It's just too much on you, you know? It's a lot of stress. So yes, I always wanted to be professional. Yes, I always wanted to enunciate and pronounce my words correctly. So that's why I came into work, an hour early so you could go over these words and get definitions for terms that you weren't familiar with. Or if you were talking about a certain country, if you talk about Mumbai or somewhere like that, you could look on a map and say, oh, that's where it is. You know what I mean? Or places in Louisiana, some of those places when Katrina was going on. I mean, it's a lot of French down there and Caribbean down there, so they pronounce things a little bit differently than it would probably be pronounced around here. And even in Alabama, you say there's a city, a town in North Alabama that's spelled Arab. Now, before I worked in Huntsville, I didn't know that city existed. And so I would have said Arab, like a or a region, but it's called Arab, Alabama. That's how you pronounce it, Arab. So it's certain things that I needed to know to let people know, hey, I know what I'm talking about. Or even if you're interviewing somebody, I remember, it's like so many people on NBC shows, we would have to interview them via satellite, kind of like you're interviewing me now. And you say I never watched their show before, sweetheart. I couldn't let them know that. So I would go and Google them and, go on YouTube and watch not a whole episode even, but at least see their work a little bit before I sat down and had a conversation with them. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's out of respect for the person. Now, if it was something on the fly and I didn't have time to do that, then, that's understandable. But if I had even 15 or 20 minutes, just like you prepare, I'm sure, for whoever you're talking to, it was just that preparation because, yeah, I wanted to be professional. I wanted to be a good representation of not only women, Black women professionals, Southern women, just all the mothers, grandmothers, whatever, fit girls trying to work and go to the gym and work and raise their kids and keep their husband or a significant other happy, all of that. And I shared a lot. Because people shared a lot with me. They would tell me things, like when their birthday was or when their anniversary was, or that they liked my haircut or they went natural because I went natural. All kinds of stuff like that. They would share with me, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and now podcasts. They give you an opportunity to really, really connect with people in ways that we only dreamed of back in the day. We only dreamed of. So even being able to talk to you, which I think this is incredible. I really do. That you wanted me to do this with you and that we have this available, that we can do this and share these stories and promote whatever we're doing. It's awesome. It really is.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. And I saw you stated that one of your favorite interviews was with Bob Riley. Tell us about the interview.
Yeah.
Like what made it such a great interview?
Well, first of all, he's a very likable person. And I think it just surprised me because I had preconceived notions about him, just like people do about me and probably about you and everybody else. He's a Republican white guy from the Shoals area, Northwest Alabama. He had cowboy boots on. He kind of had a President Ronald Reagan look about him. He was running against a very popular governor at the time. And he just surprised me how much I liked him once the interview got started, how smart he was and what a gentleman he was and how he made you. And I try to do the same thing now, how he made me, I can only speak for me, made me feel like the only person in the room. And we had, 3 cameras at least, maybe 4, camera operators behind each one. My co-anchor was in the room also, and his people were there with him. So probably 2 or 3 people there with him at the time that he was running for governor of Alabama. And I think what made it so special is because I think that that's what makes a lot of conversations or relationships or friendships. You ever just meet somebody and you just bond with them and you don't even expect it. You just hit it off. So it was kind of like that. I mean, we were kind of polar opposites. We could not probably be more opposite politically and physically, and it just in every way. And he was just so easy to talk to, so smart, had so many great ideas for the state that I agree with. And I'm going, how is this even possible? Like, this guy is awesome. So I think that's why he's one of my favorites, is because he surprised me. And I love to be surprised. I love pleasantly surprised. He surprised. He really did shock me how much I liked him once that interview was over. I think that's what it was.
Yes, man, that makes a lot of sense. And like you was just saying, those preconceived notions, we're all guilty of it, but
yeah,
it's also good to give people grace, which you obviously did give him grace. You gave him an opportunity to come on your
yes,
platform. Y'all had a great
yeah,
conversation, and he was able to pleasantly surprise you. And that's what it's all about, just connecting, having those good quality conversations. And
yeah,
yes, ma'am. And I know you had plenty more high level conversations while you were WSFA, and you was there for over 18 years, did your thing,
uh-huh,
representing for as well. And then you had to make a decision to walk
yeah,
away in 2021. And I just want to ask you about that. That was a very
uh-huh.
courageous decision to make. You had been in that role for that long. Who or what gave you that courage, that audacity to pivot out of WSFA?
Well, it was, it really, I mean, I hate to sound cliche, but it was really like an epiphany. At the time, like I said, we were at the height of COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
That had been going on for a few months. We were uh, getting back out, but not really. My co-anchor, Judd Davis, who I absolutely loved working with. He's just such a joy to work with, so professional and funny. He was like my brother from another mother. He really was. And we were in each other's lives for 15, 16 years. So, through marriage, divorce, parents dying, kids being born, all kinds of things that we shared, and the laughter. Oh, that guy was so fun. But imagine that you create that relationship with someone you work with and you look forward to seeing, and we couldn't see each other. He had to be home when I was at the studio, or he was at the studio and I was at home. At the time that I left, that I quit, it was I was at home during that time, and he was at the studio, and that meant cameras were in my home, and they were off, of course, when I wasn't on air, but it was just so, I don't know, imposing to have all of that equipment in my home. Whenever I came home, I felt like I was at work at home, and I'm not one of those people who wants to work from home like that. I like to separate it. So that I had to wake up at 2:30 in the morning all those years. To get to work on time, because when I first started, I was going on the air at 5:30, but by the time I quit, we were going on the air at 4:30, which means I had to get there at 3:30. Mm-hmm. The money was great. The hours were great. Once I got there, I was done at noon, but I was spent. And a lot of people are like, I mean, you're just sitting there, you're just talking. But I just want you to imagine having to be mentally on for 3 hours at a time. Like when I went on the air at 4:30, we went till 7:00. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's 2.5 hours, but it's 2.5 hours where I got to be ready for whatever my guest says, whatever Judd says, whatever I need to say, whatever's coming up next. Is there video coming up, or I got a quick commercial break? So is this a good time to go to the restroom, or should I wait? I mean, it was like you had to be on and operational for that whole time without a break. Even when Judd was the one reading, I had to be ready in case he missed something, or in case he looked at me like, how do I pronounce that word, or asked me a question about it, because we got to do that crosstalk in the morning. So it was just like mentally draining. And so between the stress of the news and what was going on, having to get up so early and not being able to sleep because of, all your mind is going. I started gaining weight. I started feeling bad. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I was diagnosed about 10 years ago now with that. And so, it started aggravating my health and medical conditions that I had gotten under control that were out of control again now. And so, yeah, it was either do it now. Then too, baby, I didn't want them to say it's time for you to go. It's something to be said about you saying this is time for me to go to the next thing and do what I want to do, go where I want to go. Then having somebody say, like Don Lemon or Tucker Carlson, like people who've been, you got to go. It's time for you to go. Get out of here. That kind of thing. I didn't want to be that person. Or Tiffany Cross, who I loved. And she was just, she was there one day, she was gone the next. And I didn't want it to be like that for me. Yeah. And so I just decided I wanted to do something different. And I have not regretted it. Not the day I did it and not today. It's and this month makes 2 years that I've been away from there. Yeah, don't watch it anymore, anything like that. Not because I'm bitter or anything like that, but I don't watch any news. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch Fox. I don't watch it because I just wanted to take that stress away. And I'm 40 pounds lighter. People are like, what are you doing? Did you have surgery? I was like, no, I got rid of a stressful job and I get to sleep past 2:30 in the morning. That'll help you a lot. That'll help your health out a lot. So yeah, it's all good.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Congrats on the weight loss.
Thank you.
Yes, health is definitely wealth.
It really is. And I mean, we cannot say that enough. I'm serious. Like when I say I lost 40 pounds, I mean, that's not a whole lot, but it is. I mean, when I sit down in a seat in an airplane, I got some room on the side now. When I want to go and I try on clothes somewhere, I can pull up those pants and I go, okay. It changes your life. I can roll around on the floor with my grandkids and spring back up. Now I still can't do that. The knee challenge where they like twerk down to the ground. I can't do that. My knees ain't set up like that. But yeah, there is a lot to be said for losing even 10 pounds. But now I get to get up at a reasonable hour, go for a walk. When I get off work, I go for a walk. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying myself, babe, traveling and all that kind of stuff. But just real quick, let me tell you this. Did not tell anybody, not my kids, not my dad, not my sister or brother, not my friends, that I was going to quit. Nobody knew. You know why? I didn't want them to try to talk me out of it. Because it is a fabulous job at WSFA. I loved it until it was just time for me to go. I just want people to know that it wasn't anything that they did to me. I've heard all kinds of rumors, like, that they fired me or something happened. Like it was none of that. It was none of that. I went to them and said, this isn't working for me anymore. They said, okay, here's what we're going to do for you. Thank you so much. And blah, blah. Like it was the most amicable thing. No problems. I just was ready to go. And I obviously did the right thing. And now I'm on to the next part of my life, which is fantastic too. So I'm blessed beyond. I feel like I'm blessed beyond. I am.
Yes, ma'am. And that's amazing. And just hearing you break down exactly why you left, it makes perfect sense. You chose you first because, like you said,
that's it. God chose me. Yes.
It was the height of COVID and a lot of things were going on. And just like you said, you don't take work home with you. And essentially working from home, work is always at home with you. So
yeah,
you were just overwhelmed and you made the decision. And to be honest with you, your style, the way you did it, not telling anybody, I rode the exact same way when it comes to making big decisions because people can inadvertently discourage you and say, hey, I don't know, you got that good job, you got that good benefits, but you were stressed out. So what good is it, as young people like myself say, what good is it chasing the bag if you can't enjoy it? You sick, you stressed out.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, and chasing the bag, it kept me there probably a few months longer than I would have, because I was like, I'm gonna, walk away from this salary, that most people would be. I mean, they would never do that. But I tell you what, it's money. Money can do a lot for you, and I'm not knocking anybody who stays somewhere because of the money, but I just could see myself physically and emotionally not being able to handle that much longer. And I did not want to get to that point. I really didn't. So, I wish them well, and I know they wish me well. When I say them, I mean my former employer, WSFA, and the folks that work there with me. I know they've been by here to my new gig. They've been to my events. They have supported me in the things that I'm doing now. And actually, after I left, it was like, what happened? It was like kind of a mass exodus of people. Quite a few people left after I left. But it didn't have anything to do with me. It was just timing. It was a lot of people felt that way, that being a part of the media was not it anymore. So we wanted to do other things with our life before, it got to be too late. So yeah, I'm glad I made that decision. I'm glad that other people made that decision, because it seems to be working out for them as well. It's just been an awesome last couple of years. It really has. And it just keeps getting better.
Yes, ma'am. And like you said on your website, in 2021, you stepped out on faith, and it's one of the best decisions you ever made. So let's transition into present day. You have your hands in a lot of things. You are rocking and rolling. You are an author, real estate professional, speaker. You're inspiring women with the fitness. So what's the most, so with all the great things you got going on now professionally, which one is the most rewarding? If you can choose one, I know all of them are like your babies, but if you can choose one, which one is the most rewarding for you?
I have to be honest with you, it's the newest thing, and that's real estate. I bought a house, and before I was renting, and before that, when I lived in a home, my ex-husband was the one who bought the home, and and I was just there with him. It was our home together. But this one has my name on it. No, like no co-signer, none of that. It was just me, and just having that feeling, going through that process, looking at this home or that home, and say, "Oh, this feels right," and and even the part where I was going to see if it was something that was good for me financially, as far as my credit goes and my savings and all of that, and just getting myself together and ready for that. That whole thing of learning that and feeling that way, I said, I want to be a part of that happening for as many people as I possibly can. So that's why I went into real estate. And I just want to help people buy and sell and grow and create that generational wealth, because I'm sure you know this, being the intelligent person that you are. If you look at the top people as far as financially, top people like Forbes 500 or something, a big part of their financial wealth is real estate. And so I think it's not only is it a great place for you to live, but with Airbnb and rentals and all kinds of things like that, it's just a way to have that income coming in. And so many people could do it that don't even know it. I want to teach them how to how a house cannot just be somewhere where you live. It can be somewhere that makes you a lot of money, that sets you up where you can live the kind of life you want to live for the rest of your life and not have to answer to anybody.
Yes, ma'am. Congratulations on purchasing your first home. First and foremost.
Yes, it's so cute. Oh my God. You're gonna have to come. Yeah, when I set up my podcast, I need you to return the favor.
Yes, ma'am.
And be a part of that. But I want you to come, and I said it's a 4-bedroom home. So one of the rooms is I set it up as my studio, my office / studio. So yeah, you have to come by and visit, be one of my guests. You got to bring good energy in there, though, or I'll stop you at the front door.
Oh, for sure. Hey, I definitely understand that. You got to have that energy, the good energy.
Yes, honey. I don't worry about burning sage and all that kind of stuff, praying over it, all that. We went through all that. But listen, I only want good, and that's anywhere. Like relationships, it ain't nothing for me to cut you off.
Right.
Nothing. Yeah. Because like they say, new level, new devil. You ever
Yes,
heard
ma'am.
that? Whenever you're trying to get higher and go higher and be better and inspire more and look better and all that. I mean, it never fails that you have a lot of people that want to hate on you for that. And I feel bad for them, but then again, I don't. Not enough for me to stop doing what I'm doing, be happy and motivated and actually taking action, not just talking about it, but being about it. I'm like that. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I should do this or I could do that. No, let's do it. And if you fall flat on your face, just get back up. Just
Mhm.
get back up. A lot of people would like you to think that they're like overnight successes. Honey, I've been on Section 8. I've been on welfare. I've been divorced for like 16 years now. I mean, like everybody has their issues and things that they go through and have to fight back from and deal with. Whether it's like, even like say, like my medical illness, my rheumatoid arthritis and things like that. But we all have our heels to climb. But my goodness, once you conquer that thing, once you make that thing, oh, you said I couldn't use bad word. I was gonna say make it your bitch, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, ma'am.
and you just you take control of that thing and you can go on to the next thing. It is something. It just makes you feel like, yes, I am God's child. He has predestined me for greatness, and I'm not gonna let myself down. What Beyonce say, winners don't quit on themselves. Are you kidding? No. Keep it pushing. But yes, honey, I am having the time of my life. My 9 to 5 is marketing director at Wesley Gardens Assisted Living. It is an assisted living community on Taylor Road, and it's beautiful. First of all, if you're an older person and you can't live at home anymore, but you're not ready for a nursing home, this is like it's like being on a cruise ship 24/7. I mean, they don't have to lift a finger. We just spoil them rotten. It's awesome. And I love older people because they are a straight no chaser. You know what I mean? Like if they like you, they'll let you know. If they don't like it, they'll let you know. They are honest and they're kind of flirty. They're so cute. I love them. They are so cute. So I love the job, but I also love what I'm doing away from the job. So I don't know that it could get much better than that, figuring out who you are. And I think that started happening for me for real when I turned 50. So don't be scared of turning 50 because I remember Oprah saying that years ago when she turned 50. And I was like, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. Because I was in probably my 30s at that time. I don't know how much older Oprah is. But yeah, I don't know. But I was nowhere near 50. And I was like, girl, you just saying that because you're 50 with your old tail. But I'm telling you, because you're old enough to know what you want and you're still young enough to get it and you know how to get it. So I'm telling you, 50 is where it's at. So I'm 53 now. But yeah, when I turned 50, I was like, look out, world, here I come.
That's
But you don't
amazing.
have to wait until you're 50, of course. You don't have to wait. But I'm telling you, that's a magic number. 50 is a magic number.
Yes, ma'am. And that's a blessing just to be able to age and make it to that age because these days with all the stuff that's going on, like the way these kids passing away in their teens and 20s
I
from
know. Oh my
nonsense.
goodness.
Mhm.
That'll preach now. You watch out. You're gonna be in the pulpit with that one. That'll preach.
I mean, seriously. I mean, like even right now, me being at 35, and I used to look at it from a standpoint when like younger guys, young guys will refer to me as Uncle OG. I embrace it now. Like it's a blessing to be able to make it to 35 because a lot of people not making it to their 30s because of a lot of foolishness that's going on out here. So I just want to tell you, making it to 53, that's a blessing, and it sounds like you're making the most of it. That's what it's all about.
Maybe I just feel like if you are still here,
Mhm.
you're still here for a reason. God is not through with you yet. And like I mentioned, everything you do is not going to work out, but at least you could try it. Go for it. I'm going to tell you this, and I know we're getting over your time, but when I left WSFA, one of the first things I did, because I didn't have a job. I didn't, it wasn't like I'm going to leave WSFA because I got this. I just knew that I didn't want to do that anymore. And I was taking all the calls and all the meetings and all that, even met with Governor Riley about working with him. But I started traveling because I find that when I get away from home, and I'm out in the sun or near the ocean, or just being in different surroundings, even hearing people speak other languages, it just inspires me. It just gets my juices going, my engine gets going better. And so I said, where do I want to go? Like on my bucket list, where do I want to go? And I had, since I was little, watching Sesame Street. Now that's how little I was. They showed Christ the Redeemer, the statue down in Rio de Janeiro. And I said, I don't know, because nobody could go with me. I was asking all my girlfriends that like to travel with me and guy friends, and they were like, no, I can't go right now. So I went by myself to Rio de Janeiro because I wanted to see that statue. And listen, when I tell you, when you put your mind to something and you do it, I paid for it. I got on that plane for however many hours I had to fly down there and get on that Jeep and go up the hill and get on the escalator and then get on the other escalator and go up to the base of that. And you look up and it's a statue of Christ that's bigger than anything you've ever seen. And he's holding his arms out like, girl, you made it. When I tell you I was a wreck, I was up there boo-hooing. People are like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. This is the best day of my life. It was so awesome. So my point in telling that story is, sometimes it's not going to work out the way you want. I would have loved somebody to go down there and experience that with me, but they couldn't or wouldn't or whatever. So I had to do it by myself. And sometimes you got to do it by yourself. You got to make those decisions on your own. And sometimes people are going to say, no, you shouldn't do that or whatever. And that's up to you whether you want to take their advice. But honest to God, if I listen to some other people, some of the experiences that I've had, I would have really missed out. So follow your heart, follow your gut, and don't be scared. And even if you are scared, do it scared. Do it anyway. Just do it scared. It's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
It's okay.
That's great. And like just hearing your story just always has having courage to like step out on faith from the long tenure career with WSFA, step out on faith and take those trips that you've taken. And you've done a lot of great things professionally. And I know a lot of great things are coming down the pipeline, which leads to my next portion, the vision. What are some of your short-term and long-term goals for yourself?
Well, I want to be the highest selling real estate agent in the country. I want to build an empire that includes my 3 sons, and I want to be able to support my grandchildren and whatever they want to do, because even you being as young as you are at 35, I'm talking about kids who are, 10, 6, 5, 3, and 1 years old. And that, the sky's the limit for them. They saw a Black president. They've seen space travel. They've seen all other kind of travel, the internet, all of those things that were just not even thought of when I was their age. So they feel like they can do things that I didn't think I could do at their age. It's amazing to me how these young people, entrepreneurs, are coming up now, starting their own business, starting their own YouTube channel or whatever, and making bank, about becoming designers and all kinds of designing video games or clothing or shoes or whatever they want to do. It's just amazing to me. Doing hair or baking cakes. My granddaughter has a cake baking business called A Ray of Sunshine. That's RAI, a ray of, and she is doing so well with her media and all of that. So I want to support them. I want to grow my real estate business. I want to get even healthier and help other people do that. I want to inspire people to not be stuck in whatever situation they're in. If they want to get out, get out, do better, do more, because you're worth it. And because God has a purpose for you, or you would not still be here. And so, yeah, I don't think God is through with me yet. So, honey, you just watch me on social media, on Instagram, Very Tonya Terry, and on Facebook. I have two pages. Very Tonya Terry is my professional page, and Tonya Terry is my personal page. So, yeah, just be on the lookout. You never know where you'll see TT pop up.
Yes, ma'am. Those are some great goals, both short term and long term, and I have no doubt you'll make them all come to fruition.
Yeah, and you know what I love too? I can tell you're smiling while you're talking to me. Always do that. But because seriously, when you can make somebody smile, that's important, because that's another quote, and I'm going to leave you with that. You know, people will never forget how you make them feel. That is so true.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
is so true. So it doesn't matter. When I was reading those news stories, they probably don't even remember the news stories that I was reading, but they remember how I made them feel when they turned on that television and watched. So when I tell you that's true, it's true.
Yes, ma'am. And I appreciate those words. And definitely, it's definitely been a great conversation. Definitely appreciate you for being transparent and telling your story. And
Yeah.
before I get you out of here, I have one last question, and it's the $1,000,000 question. So,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. I started this podcast to highlight the greatness of the city of Montgomery, whether you were born here or lived here for a significant period of your life, be it college, military, or work. You born in Troy, but you came to Montgomery, where you spent majority of your professional career, and you still
Yeah.
reside here. So I want to ask you, Tonya, what do you appreciate the most about the Gump?
The people. It's gotta be the people. It's like I was at an event, not, well, any number of events. Every time I go somewhere, it's like the vibe of the people. I told you, energy is everything to me. I don't care what you look like, what you drive, where you live. It's that energy in Montgomery. Oh my gosh, the people here are so real. They're so loving. They're so loyal. It's just beautiful. I just love the people. That is my favorite thing, and I want them to have everything they deserve from their government, from their churches, from whatever entity is here to serve them. They deserve only the best. The history here is fantastic, but the future is so bright if we invest in the people of Montgomery. Absolutely. Hands down. My favorite thing about Montgomery, the people who live here. They're amazing.
Yes, ma'am. And you've already provided me with your social media handles, and of course,
Yes.
I'll include that as well as the website in the description of this episode.
Yeah, TonyaTerry.com. I almost forgot about that. Yeah, it's all there. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I definitely put that in the description of the episode. Hey, Tonya, thanks again for the conversation. I really appreciate you.
Oh, and I can tell you do. You are so sweet and so nice to talk to, easy to talk to. And have me back anytime, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You take care.
You do the same. Good people, that concludes another dope episode of the Gumptown Podcast. In the meantime, in between time, y'all know what to do. Be blessed, be safe, but most importantly, have the audacity to be you. Gone. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate your time and your attention. Until next time.